to prevent this from happening, to prevent this person, this tyrant, from coming in and just destroying the whole thing. He says right here, to prevent this, Lincoln concluded, and this was someone's paraphrasing of the words that they wrote in Wikipedia, he concluded that there was a need to cultivate a political religion that emphasizes reverence for the laws and puts reliance on reason, cold, calculating, unimpassioned reason. Take your emotion out of your decision-making process. I didn't prepare remarks on this, but I was reading it, so I'll just kind of off the cuff go for it. But I was looking at Lincoln's, I don't even know how to say it, Lyceum, I don't know how to say it. But is this it? Yeah. So in 1844, let me get this Wikipedia thing going though, because I liked how someone wrote one of these citations on here. Oh, that's not it. And they put it better than I could. Excuse me. So I wanted to set the scene, and this is what they said. So during this speech, Lincoln, I'm not going to read the whole speech. I just kind of want to talk about a small portion of it. So I'm reading down here. So during the speech, Lincoln referenced 2 murders committed by pro-slavery mobs. Right? The first was the burning of Francis McIntosh, a freedman who killed a constable and was subsequently lynched by the mob. And then he also referenced the death of Elijah Parrish Lovejoy, a newspaper editor and abolitionist who was murdered 3 months earlier by a pro-slavery mob in Alton, Illinois. So the reason why I'm telling you that is I want to set the stage. What Abraham Lincoln was talking about in this address is mob mentality and not following the rule of law, right? And how the fabric of our democracy essentially hinges on anti-mob mentality, meaning we don't have a mob mentality, right? We kind of figure out how to communicate. So, let me find it in here. So this is where I was saying I liked how they laid this out. So, one of the things that he warned about is a tyrant could overtake the U.S. political system from within, right? And I know a lot of you at home, you're really concerned. Like, you really feel like Donald Trump is the embodiment of a tyrant. And I don't entirely disagree with you. But I don't entirely agree with you either. But I get it, right? So this is what he's saying, and I'll read through this, and we'll try to unpack it. It is to deny what the history of the world tells us is true, to suppose that men of ambition and talents will not continue to spring up among us, right? That's fine. There are people who are incredibly talented, incredibly ambitious. They're always going to happen. They're always going to come in our lifetime. And when they do, they will as naturally seek the gratification of their ruling passion as others have done before them. The question then is, can that gratification be found in supporting and maintaining an edifice that has been erected by others? Most certainly it cannot. Many great and good men, sufficiently qualified for any task they should undertake, may ever be found whose ambition would aspire to nothing beyond a seat in Congress, a gubernatorial or presidential chair. But such belong not to the family of the lion or the tribe of the eagle. For themselves, not part of a tribe. What? You think these places would satisfy an Alexander, a Caesar, a Napoleon, saying these good people would thrive and flourish in these places, right? In our form of government? No, never. In the footsteps of any predecessor, however illustrious, it thirsts and burns for distinction. Think when Donald Trump came into office and it was fuck everything Obama. Fuck Obamacare, fuck everything Obama, right? Didn't matter how illustrious Obama's presidential administration was. Didn't matter of any of the good things that they did. He's talking about someone coming in and not being able to build upon the success of their predecessor and instead being more concerned with their own own fame, their own, right, recognition. So he goes on to say, towering genius disdains a beaten path. It seeks regions hitherto unexplored, right? It wants to do all this other stuff, right? It doesn't want to go down a beaten path. Like, again, it doesn't want to build on the successes of others. It always wants to just do its own thing, right? It sees no distinction in adding story to story upon the monuments of fame erected to the memory of others. Again, new power comes in, doesn't want anything to do with previous power. So let me go down a little bit more. I'm just going to go to the last line because I want to kind of cut it short. So distinction will be his paramount object, and although he would as willingly, perhaps more so, acquire it by doing good as harm, yet that opportunity being past and nothing left to be done in the way of building up, he would set boldly to the task of pulling it down. Basically saying that everything that has been built for our that we know of as our government and our democracy, the laws and all these things, right? That someone could come in from within and just destroy it all. Destroy the rule of law and allow like mob mentality to come in and just like take over everything. So he's kind of, I have a lot of people that I have near and dear to my heart that I absolutely love and I would still to this day die for. But they're what others would call Trumpers. And now we don't politically agree with each other, but I love them and I appreciate that the majority of them, I would say all of them, that we're able to sit down and have a conversation of things that we don't agree on, and it doesn't get ugly. It gets a little tense, but like we come to that common place where we understand why we're having this conversation in the first place. We're all trying to save this democracy and just make it better. We're not trying to lose what's been built. There's a reason why everyone wants to come to this country. Well, not generalized. There's a reason why a lot of people around the world want to come to America, right? And there's a reason why America is what it is on the world stage. And as much as I challenge my government and I'm talking shit, I'm doing it because I love it, right? I'm doing it because I want it to be on the right path. I want it to do the right thing. I want the people leading us to be as righteous as possible without being like self-righteous and preaching and all that, right? Like, I just want them to do the right thing. So he says, this last line right here, he says, to prevent this from happening, to prevent this person, this tyrant, from coming in and just destroying the whole thing. He says right here, to prevent this, Lincoln concluded, and this was someone's paraphrasing of the words that they wrote in Wikipedia, he concluded that there was a need to cultivate a political religion that emphasizes reverence for the laws and puts reliance on reason, cold, calculating, unimpassioned reason. Take your emotion out of your decision-making process. When some people told me stop with the Bernie or bust thing, this is what I was trying to tell them. That's how I make my decisions. With reason, cold, calculating, unimpassioned reason. Ugh, why can't I talk today? Unimpassioned reason. I didn't support Bernie Sanders because I liked the guy's haircut. Right? I didn't like Bernie Sanders because I thought he was smooth as butter. I liked him because he was representing the ideas that I want to be part of the change I want to see in the United States. It was not a cult of personality. It was absolutely fantastic that he was like a cool guy, that he was mildly charismatic. It was nice to like him as a person and like him as a personality. That's a big part of what his appeal was, yes. But that was not the sole reason why I and others that I have talked to who supported Senator Sanders, that was not the reason why we were following this man. Because now that he's gone and now that he has decided that he no longer wants to be the leader of this movement, we're going to look to someone else. We're looking for someone else. Who is the next leader of this movement? Because this is not stopping. This push to move forward, this push to save people from the bad parts of government, from the failings of our elected officials, to save people from themselves even, because we've been voting for these people for so long. And so that's partly why I'm doing things like this. I'm trying to just open up your eyes and share with you the things that I've kind of seen for myself. And I also want to open a dialogue. I want to have a discussion. If you think the way that I'm connecting these dots is just far off and it doesn't make sense, then tell me that. Let's have that conversation. We're not going to get to a more perfect union unless we have a conversation about it. It just doesn't work without actually talking and trying to figure it out. So whether you're a person who supports the red team or a specific candidate or elected official for the red team, or you're a person who supports the blue team, or a candidate or an elected official who is on the blue team, when you make the decision on who you want to support in these upcoming elections, because I also want you to know there's more than a red and a blue team. There's an independent party, there's a libertarian party, there's a green party. And I know that traditionally these parties haven't garnered much power, but it's because we haven't given it to them. Power to the people. It's literally a real thing. And I know it sounds cliche, but it's so real. I can prove it to you. Let me find this real quick. Matt or Phalia. I don't know how to spell his name. Right here. Check it out. Power to the people. This is what power to the people could look like if we all finally did it. Let me make this a little bit bigger for you guys. Okay, so I know it's a little blurry and I know it's hard to see, but you see the red and the blue, and then you see like what is that? That's not brown. What is that? Pewter? Oh, is that tan? You see the tan? Tan is if there was, if did not vote had been a candidate, right? So this is what people forget. People forget that only 58%. People forget that a little over half of the country voted in, there it is, right here, 56%. 55.7% turned out to vote in the 2016 election. So half of a half is what's running our country right now. Half of a half is running our country right now. Do you realize that? Do you really realize that? That is why nothing is getting done. Because half gets in power. So 25% of the country controls 75% for 4 years, or however it works out, depending on who holds Congress and the executive branch and all that stuff, right? So in the 2016 election, where 55.7% of the country voted, if did not vote was a candidate, this is how the election would have gone. So please make sure you're registered to vote for the upcoming election. And please make sure you take a really long, hard think. That's such a bad way to end that sentence. Take a good, hard look at who you're going to vote for and why you're going to vote for them. And I'm telling you, like, I listen, I don't want to lose the Supreme Court seat either. I know RGB is getting a little up there. Can you put me on main? I'm done with this speech. Thank you. I know RGB is getting up there, and I want her successor to build upon, right, her successes and not tear it all down for their own gain. So of course I personally want not the red team to win, because I see the judges that the red team puts up. And I've looked through the damn rulings of the Supreme Court, and I've read the damn the decision papers, the dissenting opinions, right? And to see on what lines that each justice, like, you know, their reasoning and like why they voted this way and that way, and they're just usually not in the direction that I personally would want, especially for progressive ideas to actually become a reality. So I know that unfortunately right now you're telling us that we have to vote blue no matter who. But that doesn't mean that I can't still make you fear the fact that I won't vote for you, so that you will bend to the will of the people finally and do exactly what we want you to do, which is to serve us and not your own interests or the interests of all your friends who feel like this is a good crisis to waste.